Hey, this is number 9 on page 330. This is number 9, page 330. This is part letter E, or starting part letter E. And it wants you to output all the sum of the squares in this thing. So, again, you're coming down here. You need to look at all these parts that actually takes place in here. Okay, let me just copy the same. We can tab over and just do part E right now, and let's talk about part E in here. First of all, you have to figure out if it's an odd or even number with this thing. So part E says sum of all the square of the odd numbers between the first and the last. It's no different from any of the other algorithm that you just did on the top, is that you have to figure out if it's an odd number or an even number with this thing. So let me just snag this particular algorithm right here. Okay, there's this part E right here. Okay, I think I just did part E, didn't I? What's part D? Yeah, that was the one. I just did the sum of the squares. So let me just snag this part right here for part to figure out if a number is odd or even with the thing. So just use E as a part of this right now, and then we're going to figure out if this is, again, the first part you want to look at is this is the part that you figure out if it's an odd number. If it's an odd number, what do you do with it? So this is the part that actually will figure out the odd for this thing for you in here, and you still do this with it. Now the square of the odd is a little different from what you looked at in the top, because this is the square. It means what? You have to do counter, multiply counter, instead of sum of the even, now it becomes sum of the odd. And sum of the odd I initialized on the top for you is already 0 with this thing. Okay, so you have that sum of the odd, and then you have to still output this thing with it as well. So here's another example that you can actually change this thing and compile this thing, and to see else is that, if you have the first number now equals, that means that this is the actual odd number that you're adding up to it, and you should have your counter that you're still doing this on. You still have to output this thing. Okay, so output to screen. I'll let you do that. What this is outputting? Your outputting is the sum of the odd, by the way. Okay, so this is part E. Part E on number 9. The last part's pretty easy. When you think about the last part, how you want to do the last part with this thing is part F. And part F is basically, you would go in, and it wants you to uppercase all letters with this. Just do a string out with this thing. I want to turn your attention to refer to page in back of your book. There's an ASCII table. The ASCII table is on Appendix E, is on page 1525. Well, at least it's in my 6th edition books on page 225 with this thing. And when you look at the ASCII table in this thing, I'm sorry, 1519, not 25. Let's read you for a second. So it wants to start out with like all uppercase. Look at uppercase A. The way how you read that is you read the row first and then the column. The row is 6, the column is 5. So it's 65 is the number. B is what? 66. C, uppercase C is what? 67. Uppercase D is what? 68. And it goes all the way down to all the way to Z. So your algorithm is, what do you do? What do you do? Look up here. I gave you a char counter, alright? Declaring it as a char counter already. Start with that. If you initialize counter, ch counter, to A, for example, right? Use a while loop. You initialize A to a counter. I want you to test that ch counter. If it's less than Z, less than or equal to Z, what are you going to do? You're going to output that ch counter, and then you need to increment the ch counter. Okay? So again, I want you to use the while loop. Use the while loop and initialize. You'd be able to initialize the statement, initialize, and then test it. Okay, and you update it. Okay, so with that, you should be able to be comfortable to do the while loop in that. What I just said. Initialize it. What? Set ch counter to A. Test it. What? You're gonna do that ch counter and less than or equal to z, for example, and then you need to update that ch counter. Okay, so I gave you as much as I can help on this lab. You got it? Okay.